21 laps in, and Tony Stewart still holds a half-second advantage on Kasey Kahne, Kurt Busch, and the new fourth-place car is Kevin Harvick. Ryan Newman in fifth, Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace, Greg Biffle, and Jeremy Mayfield. Johnny Sauter has slipped back to 10th place.
And watching Kevin Harvick, you see right there, he's moved up about a half a lane, and over about the last 10 laps, he has had one of the faster race cars.
Yeah, I think, Larry, 3 and 4, no question. You're going to make a lot more time up high around 3 and 4 once that groove gets good up top. But you just got to be so cautious in 1 and 2 not to jump, as the dirt track guys would say, the cushion down there. Well,
it looks like what he can do by running that little up higher groove, he can drive the car in the corner and the car will turn.
Yeah, and the other thing, Larry, again, just referring back to what I said in the pre-race show about the gear rule. One of the things that all these teams are struggling with, a lot of the teams are struggling with, is they're not turning 10,000 RPM here like they did last year. And that has really messed up their engine combination. That's one of the things I believe has really affected DEI. So to run the car a little higher and run it a little freer, it'll go a little faster.
And just remember, Kevin Harvick was one of those 16 Nextel Cup drivers that was in the Busch race last night. See Johnny Sauter in the 09. That car's starting to go backwards just a little bit as Kyle Busch in the 5 moves on, and this is a battle for 10th right now.
They're going to move past Mike Garvey's slow car on the bottom of the racetrack. He had come down pit road, but apparently missed his pit. He's going to have to come back in again.
What our leader, Tony Stewart, the 20 car, he's about to catch the tail end of the field here at lap 26. He'll be in lap traffic, which could be a big advantage for Kasey Kahne in the 9, Kurt Busch in the 97, and Kevin Harvick in the 29.
One of the things, Larry, I'm looking at as I look at the racetrack is the rubber buildup that the track is showing. That is so dark and black in the groove, and that's nothing but rubber. And there goes his 16 trying to get by Rusty, and does. Biffle. Looks like Jeremy is trying to stick a nose in there.
See what, I've been watching Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car. He started back in the 15th position. Remember, he won the race here in September, and that win catapulted him into the chase for the Cup. Looks like both of the Ray Evernham cars, Kasey Kahne in the 9 and Jeremy Mayfield, have good cars tonight.
Here's Kahne. Kahne has closed the gap on Tony Stewart. It's down to just 0.3 of a second. Jeff?
Got a chance to talk to Ray Evernham, owner of both these cars, the 9 of Kahne as well as Mayfield, and he told me, Larry, that they had really worked on putting a tunable setup underneath these cars, that the testing they've been doing lately, and they really felt like that they were starting to understand the balance that this Dodge Charger really needed, and their drivers as well as their engineers have been working very close trying to come up with setups that would allow these impound races to make their cars a lot more tunable. He said early on, we feel like we got the cars where they'll get good grip up off the corners. They should be able to make a run towards the front. But as the track changes, they felt like they could keep up with those changes better than they have all year long.
Well, yeah, Jeff, you go back to a very similar racetrack, Phoenix. Neither one of his cars were very good there, and I know they've worked very hard on their flatter track program since Phoenix.
Boy, Greg Biffle was picking up right where he left off last week as he dove underneath and shot past Ricky Rudd. Now Mayfield closes on the Wood Brothers number 21. But Biffle is on the march. He has climbed to 6th.
Again, I just want to point out all that rubber that's we've only run 31 laps, and there's a ton of rubber already building up outside the groove. And guys told me that that's one of the issues they have up here, getting out of the groove and getting that stuff on the tires. It's like hitting ice.
You see right there how deep Kevin Harvick in the 29 could drive it off in the corner, and he does not give up that much time off the corner. He's all over the back of Kurt Busch in the 97 car. And it sounds like, Darrell, you see Kurt Busch in the 97 got into the outside wall, had to roll out the throttle, and allowed Kevin Harvick to take that position. But Darrell, it sounds like even 33 laps into this run, Kevin Harvick pretty much can mat that throttle down right now.
When you run high up here in 3 and 4, you get a nice run off of turn 4 there. But it's when you try to pinch it to the bottom, you have to really work the throttle. But just making me nervous running up that higher this early.
Kurt Busch, the defending series champ, spent a couple of laps in the penalty box last week at Darlington for abusive language on the radio and gestured toward a NASCAR official. So last night during the Busch race, Kurt accepted an invitation to watch the race from the NASCAR control tower and see how Joe Balish, the Busch Series director, and David Hoots and the other folks up there call the race from the officials' perspective.
And a person in that booth told me, they asked Kurt what he thought. He said, I'm even more confused now than I was.
Dick Berggren.
Now Casey Kane riding in second spot. That's car number 9 right behind Tony Stewart on your screen right now. Car's pushing a little bit, Mike, and for a while he was running a slightly higher line in the corners than Stewart, but then he has dropped down, running a little bit lower line than Stewart, and is closed on him. The concern from the spotter, they are about to close on a whole pile of traffic, and they want to get through that with all their fenders intact.
Well, just ahead, Scott Riggs and Dale Jarrett, two fellows who don't want to go a lap down this early in the race if they can avoid it. Stewart's there, but there's nowhere to go.
Boxed in right now.
Riggs gives way, as required to do by the rules. The starter will have that blue flag in hand, and it'll next be waved at Dale Jarrett. Tony takes the low side.
Not putting up a whole really big fight here at this point out of Jarrett's cars, and Riggs's both seem to be off the pace quite a bit compared to what Tony and Casey Kane is running.
And let me clarify, you're not required to slow down for the leader. You're required to give him a lane for his race car, and Jarrett's doing just that. He's giving Stewart the bottom. If you can pass me, pass me.
Yeah, you don't have to move over. That is a warning flag. The leader is behind you. The leader's trying to get by you. It's almost like a courtesy thing. But remember, what goes around comes around.
But look at Kevin Harvick in that 29 car with all this traffic. He's caught Casey Kane, the 9 car, goes to the high side. I think he'll win this battle into turn 1.
But he's got Jarrett just ahead, as you see from Dale's rear bumper. Now Harvick needs to make some room, and he's going to have to slice to the bottom to do it.
That 29 car, he's about as good as Clint Boyer, the 2 car for Richard Childress Racing, was in the Busch race last night.
Casey Kane, to his credit, gave Harvick plenty of room to move from the top to the bottom of the racetrack on Dale Jarrett. So now that gives Tony Stewart a lead of almost a full second.